Hello everyone, my name is Rosie. I am going to be telling you guys about the time that I saw Justin Bieber on the Ellen Show. So, if you guys are believers or fans of like the Ellen Show, or just on Twitter, so you would know that Justin Bieber did an outdoor concert about a year ago for the release of Purpose. And so he did an outdoor concert on the Ellen Show, and I was actually there. So this is going to be kind of a long story because I'm going to tell you guys from the very beginning of when I tried to get the tickets to right when the show ended. So it was like I think it was like November 1st or something. I was on Twitter and I follow Ellen on Twitter, and she tweeted, if you want tickets to see Justin Bieber on the outdoor concert, something like that, enter, go to this link and enter. And so I was like, whatever, I'm going to do it. I'm going to enter. And I clicked the link and I filled out all the information, and it says like, why are you the biggest Bieber fan? And I was like, okay, to make this good, I'm going to enter my friend's story saying I'm entering on behalf of my best friend, saying her story more. She's like a bigger believer than I am. And it asked for a picture, like submit a picture. And I was like, okay, since it's like about her, I'm gonna enter one of me and her. So I text her. I was like, hey, I'm entering to win tickets for the Ellen Show. I have to submit a picture. You're in it. Can I post this picture of us? Because it says like it's gonna become property of the studio. Now that would sound suspicious, but I love Ellen. Like, it's on my bucket list to go to her show. So it didn't sound suspicious for me. So she's like, yeah, sure. And so funny because that night she texted me, she's like, hey, question. I was like, man, she caught me. But it wasn't like that. And so the next day I was actually going to see Kian and JC on the tour before the tour. It was in Sacramento. So I think it was like November 3rd. I was in line. I was telling my friend about it. And I was like, yeah, I really hope I get these tickets. Like, I would love to go to the Ellen Show. I'd love to see Justin Bieber and all that. So I get home after the show, and it's about midnight, and I check my email. And I get an email that says Ellen Outdoor Audience. I was like, oh my gosh, like, are you kidding me? And so I open it, it says, congratulations, you have won a chance for 4 tickets to see Justin Bieber's outdoor concert on the Ellen Show. I'm freaking out. And so it's like midnight on like Tuesday or a Wednesday. And I'm thinking everybody else in my house is asleep. So like, and apparently they weren't. So I had nobody to tell. So I texted my friend. I was like, guess what? I was like, that picture he asked to use, whatever, it was to win these tickets. And so I told her about it. She's freaking out. She's like, no way. I was like, yeah, but how are we going to get to LA? Because we live in Sacramento. And so we're trying to figure out a way. Okay, so we're both 20 at the time. And we're too young to rent a car. We're trying to figure out flights. We're trying to figure out a bus, a train, somebody who could drive us. We both knew that our parents wouldn't drive us because it was like in a week. Super last minute. And like, we were going to fly, but she had work. So we were going to fly the day of the show and fly back the night of the show. So, but that would have been like ridiculous. So we kind of give up for the night on how to get there. We asked everybody we knew, like our friends, cousins, and they're like, no, I'm sorry, like it's last minute. And so we're like, okay, so we kind of just gave up. So next day I actually skipped school because I was feeling, I think somebody at the show got me sick. I was feeling sick. And I went and I talked to my stepsister, and she's like, hey, how was the show? And I was like, oh yeah, it was fine. But guess what? I was like, I got 4 tickets to see Justin Bieber on the Ellen Show. And she's like, what, are you serious? Are you going? I was like, no, we're not going. Like, we don't know how to get there. We have no way to get there. She goes, hold on. And she holds up her friend. And she told him, she's like, hey, Rosie, when got tickets to see Justin Bieber on the Ellen Show, do you want to go? It's next week. I said, yes. So I'm freaking out. I'm texting my friend. I'm like, yo, we have a way. Like, we're going to LA. We're going to go see Justin Bieber. We're going to see Ellen. She's freaking out. She's in class. And so I'm freaking out. I send the confirmation information. I'm waiting to find out if we have guaranteed tickets. So we're waiting for the email back from like the producer or like a show coordinator or something. And the next day, I got an email saying that we got a standby ticket. So we don't have guaranteed tickets, but we have standby, and standby is just like if somebody doesn't show up, you get to go. So we're like, that's pretty risky. Like, do we still want to go down there? It was my stepsister's friend who was driving, so it was really up to him on if he wanted to drive down there. And so everybody's like, you know, it's a trip to LA. Let's go. So we still go. We get all our information, and we drive down on November 11th because the filming day was on November 12th. The day it aired was November 13th, which is the day that the album came out. So we're driving down on the 11th. We get there super late. We're exhausted because we've been up and driving all day. And so we set an alarm for 5 in the morning. All right, super early. And so the song Sorry, always, every time I listen to it, just reminds me of LA. And the reason for that is because that was our alarm song for the trip. So waking up to that at 5 in the morning, it's going to be stuck in your head like all day. So we wake up, get ready, and then we had to meet up at City Walk, I think. And we get there at 7 in the morning. We get super lost because it's all our first times there. And so we see a line of people standing like on a sidewalk. We're like, okay. And so my stepsister goes and asks somebody, like a security, and they're like, no, you guys have to be over here. So everybody runs. I think there's about 20, 30 people in line already. So everybody's running to the other side. So we're standing there and lined up. And then somebody comes, they're like, no, you guys have to wait over there. So everybody runs to this parking lot because we're waiting in a parking lot. And so we're waiting and we're waiting, and they have people like just stand, like securing the area. And so then they're like, okay, you guys are gonna go over there, you're gonna go through security check and show them your tickets if you have standby or guaranteed. It comes to our turn to go. We get checked and we have standby. So guaranteed's over here, standby's over here. And so we're standing in line for hours. It just seems like it's a never-ending cycle of people coming and standing in line. So we're like, oh, this is ridiculous. Like, we're not going to get in. We just have standby. And we're asking, like, interns and stuff, and the people who work for the show, we're like, is there a chance we're going to get in? They're like, yeah, you guys are going to get in. You're fine. They're like, oh, we don't know. We're not sure if you're going to get in. Yeah, you're going to get in. Oh, we're not sure. And so we made friends with some people online, and this girl was like, oh, I was here for One Direction. There was like 4,000 people guaranteed and like 2,000 people standby, and everybody got in. So I was like, oh, we're good then. So they come by with these wristbands, and they say Ellen Show, and they have numbers on them. We're like, what is this? And they're like, oh, this means you're getting in. You're going to see Justin Bieber. You're getting into the show. So we're freaking out. I called my mom. I was like, Mom, we got wristbands. Like, we're going to go. We're going to see Bieber. We're going to see Ellen. We're getting into the show. My mom's freaking out. And then they come by and they're like, oh, we're not sure if you're going to get in. I was like, I just called my mom and told her we're getting in. You know, I'm going to sound like a liar. And so they were going back and forth with us. This guaranteed line seems like it's never ending. So we're still standing there. They're still going back and forth with us. And then we hear rumors that, oh, the first 200 people are getting in. Well, we were like number 147. So we're like, okay, well, if that's the case, then we're good. So they're taking everybody by charter buses. And it's November in California. It is so hot. There's so many people. We stood for 8 hours. I'm just like, I am just ready. Like, if we get in, we get in. If we don't, we don't. At that point, I was so tired, so exhausted. We were thirsty. It was so hot. We were just ready for it to end. So finally, the guaranteed line dies down at around 2, 3 o'clock. And so, like, you guys are getting in. And so they come by. They give, like, posters. It's, like, posters of the album cover. Stickers with Justin Bieber's name on them. So we're like, okay, you know, this is cool. And they're like, okay, you guys are gonna go. You guys getting into the show. Go line up. That gets crazy. You have people stomping on each other. Like, I've been to some concerts. I've been to some crazy concerts. But that is the craziest I've been to. So we finally get on the bus. First time sitting down in 8 hours. And so we're sitting there, and our bus driver gets lost. He's on his phone and he takes a wrong turn. So we're talking, and not even, I think they were doing like a sing along or something. It's like one of his songs. And our like person who was guiding us through the whole thing, she's like, I need you guys to be quiet because we need to use the GPS. It's just like, why was he on his phone? So we get lost, and we have to figure out a way back. So we're going to the studio. It's Warner Brothers studio. Oh my gosh, I was so excited, freaking out. So we're going, and we're talking to these people, and it's so funny because we're like, oh yeah, we drove like 6 hours to this. They're like, oh, where are you from? We're like, oh, Sacramento. They're like, that's really far. And this girl's like, oh, big deal. Like, out of nowhere, she's like, oh, big deal. I came from Minnesota. It's just like, you came from Minnesota and you didn't even have guaranteed tickets. Like, if you're gonna travel that far, make sure you have like guaranteed VIP, like everything. So we're going, and this girl starts freaking out, and we're like, what? And she goes, it's the houses from Pretty Little Liars. Like, we're on the set. And I honestly, I've never seen the show. But I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And so we get there, and we finally get off the bus. They're checking our wristbands and how they have it set up. So I guess we're on the set of Rosewood. Never seen the show. So they have the stage, and they have like a standing area, which honestly, if I would have gotten guaranteed tickets at the time that we got there to stand in line, we would have been like front row. But it's cool, we were still there. So they had like the standing area, and then they had the seated area, which I'm assuming, I'm guessing it was for like the audience for the actual show in the studio. And then they have these bleachers in the shape of like a U. So we were like back here, and there was a huge tree in our way, so we couldn't see. Luckily, we made friends with the girl and her mom next to us, and her mom like switched us seats. Like, we just switched. She's like, you guys see him, and it was really interesting how it all went about. Like, it's crazy how staged it was. Like, I always knew that it was staged, and I knew that it was going to be staged like from the very beginning, but it just threw me off. Like, there was no introduction for him. He just came out and started performing. I was like, okay, he's out here. And then Ellen came out, and then like, if you're a fan of the show, like Twitch was out there, and Ari was out there, and we had to do like the claps. We had to clap for like a minute. It's just a minute straight of just clapping, and it was like so staged. It was so quick. It was only like 15 minutes. And so at the end of shows, when Ellen has an audience or a guest, she usually like gives away like the CD or something. So if you guys know, Justin Bieber did for the release of Purpose, the day it came out, he did an evening with Justin Bieber at the Staples Center. So they gave away, like, because there was 4,000 people, and so they gave away not tickets, but everybody who had their Ellen wristband got to go to the show at a certain time. That was pretty cool that they gave that everybody at the show was able to go to the evening with Justin Bieber. So that was really cool. And that was the process and the whole day and everything of seeing Justin Bieber on the Ellen show. It was really fun, and I would honestly do it all over again. Had so much fun. I do not regret it at all. It was crazy. It was fun. It was not what I expected, and it was amazing. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that.